You ever wonder why we're here? It's one of life's great mysteries, isn't it?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Always Open. We're so glad you're here. I'm your host, Barbara Dunkelman, and today I'm joined by two lovely, incredible people, starting with...
Blizzb3ar. Hi.
And also special guest...
Hi, Laurel.
Besties here.
Besties podcast.
Besties podcast.
Just three best friends in a room.
Oh my God.
They might kiss.
Oh no. Who first? I'll close my eyes and stick my lips out.
Who goes first?
Oh God.
I'm so glad you're here.
Me too. It's an honor to be here.
Aw.
It's like the fact that Troy Baker has been here is like...
He sat in that very chair.
Oh my God. I could crap my pants. Anyways.
The fact that Blizzb3ar was here. Yeah.
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 Sick,
Yeah.
bro.
Okay.
I'm so glad that my bestie's here and Blizz. Wow.
Yes, finally. It's only taken... You just got to start your own podcast, and then
Yeah.
maybe you guys could be besties at
Okay.
that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thought we were besties.
We were, and then you said that Blaine was your bestie, and then you said that Mondo was your bestie.
Wow.
And I just feel like I'm on a bestie totem pole all of a sudden.
Has bestie completely lost all meaning at this point?
I don't know,
Like-
honestly.
Yeah, maybe a
Because I
little.
think it's a term for like people at this
Yeah.
point. Like, hey,
Yeah.
besties, where it's like, you're not really my best friends.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like I
You
started using it more when I was worried about like using the wrong pronouns or the wrong identifiers with people. Like it's
Yeah.
just easier to be like, hey, besties. Like,
Yeah.
we're all people. We're all besties.
Oh, I say gamer. I'm like, hey, gamers.
That's really funny. I really do like that. Or hey, team.
Everyone's a gamer.
I like using gamers when people are clearly not gamers. You know?
Hey, gamer. And I'm talking to 80-year-old Ethel.
Yeah. Hey, gamers, what's up?
Hey, gamer.
How's this retirement facility? Yeah, super sick. Vibe.
Talking to your family at a funeral. What's up, gamers?
Hey, gamers.
We're gathered here today to remember Uncle Tom.
All
Anyway,
the sick
who wants
headshots
to-
in Halo.
Yeah.
So, Laurel,
Yeah.
for those who are watching who might not know you, which you absolutely should, by the way, Laurel is literally a ray of sunshine, incredible human
Agreed.
being. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I've been in the world of content creation for almost 12 years.
Oh my gosh.
I used to go by a different name, which honestly I prefer not to say now because I'm just going by my real name, Laurel
Absolutely.
Rothamel. And I started off doing YouTube videos and then I did streaming and now I kind of do all of it. I am an advocate for mental health. I'm gay, I'm autistic, and I'm loud about both of those things. And yeah, I just am loving all of my creative outlets right now, doing YouTube, doing streaming, TikTok, all the things.
All the things,
you know.
being creative in all the ways.
Yeah.
And you guys have been friends for a while, you and Blizz.
Yeah, so Laurel and Lori Bird and a couple other pals were the reasons that I moved to Austin when I had the opportunity to do so.
Mm,
Yeah.
So it wasn't about us, huh?
No, well, it was that
It was
as
a
well.
bonus. Yeah.
But it's a bonus because it's nice to move somewhere new and already have a support system.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
like I already had my support system and I was like, I feel comfortable making this big like life change. So
Yeah.
You guys have such an incredible group of friends, I feel
I
like, here in
know,
Austin.
honestly.
everyone's so talented and it's annoying.
And they're
Yeah.
all so hot.
And it's annoying.
What is that? I literally, every time you guys post photos of like you guys together or like with your friends hanging out, going downtown, I'm like, this is literally the most attractive group of people I think I've ever met.
It's the worst to wake up every morning and just be like, my friends are hot.
I think it has to do with the fact that we are just a group of people who are unapologetically ourselves
Yeah.
with each other. Like I know that I could, wear the weirdest thing or do the dumbest thing around my friends. I could trip and make a fool out of myself, but like all in all, we're all just gonna laugh with each other and we're gonna have a good time. And
Yeah.
I think that surrounding yourself with people that are always building each other up
Yeah.
instead of it being a competition, which is kind of hard, unfortunately, in this industry.
It is.
And that's why ever since I've found y'all, I'm holding on for dear life.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a
It's
group
so
of friends
nice.
that I can trust with my whole heart. Like, I would take a bullet for you.
Yeah.
I'd take a bullet for you.
Oh, really?
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
I wouldn't
both of
take a
you.
bullet for me.
I would take a bullet for you, Barb.
my God.
I would take a
I'd be
bullet
like,
for you.
thank you.
Oh, do we
It's
need to
also-
unpack that?
Mr. President.
I would say it's also like the type of mentality that a lot of us have is if I'm eating, I would like for all my friends to eat too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
That's
one
a
of
big
those
one.
things, or it's like, I'm going to make it to the finish line, but I'm not going to go to the finish line alone. Like I'd rather have a friend.
We're gonna drag
there.
each other
Oh.
Yeah. So that's a lot of like how we approach each other in terms of friendship and in terms of like, we're all content creators. So
Mhm.
like, how can we work together and how can we continue our friendship just in like the most best and positive,
there. Yeah.
non-toxic way?
Things are better when we do it together.
Yeah.
I feel like trying to go about things alone and prove something is not always, you don't always have to do that.
Let me tell you, I tried that for a really long time.
Yeah.
And it was not for me, and I won't ever do it again.
Yeah.
I'm grateful to surround myself with other creatives now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm grateful that you're here with us today on Always Open. I was talking to Laurel before too about how like when I was thinking about bringing Always Open back and like knowing, you Blizz were here and knowing Laurel and like all these amazing creators here in Austin, I was like, I'm just so excited to bring the show back so I could get you guys on the show and like talk to you and hang out. And like, I know, especially Laurel, you talk all the time about like you're passionate about mental health and
Communication.
being an advocate for that kind of stuff too. And Blizz, you as well. And so it's a perfect show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect way.
I'm always excited about Always Open. Look, this is my 3rd time here. I'm a veteran at this point. Okay, I'm a veteran Always Opener.
Yeah, you're essentially like a unofficial co-host at this
Yeah.
point.
Basically.
Yeah.
Hey, I did it at RTX, so that technically is 4. So
True.
hey,
You made me cry at RTX, so
I made myself
I was so
cry,
proud of
too.
you. I sat there during you being on Always Open there, and just like tears in my eyes, recording on my phone, like this is my bestie.
Very proud mom moment.
Like literally, yeah.
Well, wonderful. Let's get into some stuff today.
Yeah.
So last time Blizz was on the show, I had a fun question that I wanted to pose to everybody,
Okay.
which there's no right or wrong answer, but essentially it's like a litmus test of just like understanding a little bit more of your personality.
Oh,
so my
no.
question for you guys today is,
I'm scared. Don't laugh before
don't be
it.
scared. It's
You're
literally-
laughing before it.
do you have a favorite font?
Okay, actually, I do.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
I've been using the same font on my streams for years.
Okay.
Impact.
Yep.
It just, I don't know.
Impact's nice.
It leaves an impact. Like it's like for me, when I see it's clear that I like to yell. Like it's just like a yelling. I don't have to be in all caps. It's just like it's yelling
It
at
does
you.
it
It's
for
right
you.
there. It does its job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
We had this conversation yesterday, technically.
Did you?
Yeah,
Did we?
we did. So
Without me?
my favorite,
I know, I'm so sorry.
my favorite font, and it was a meme at first, but like then it actually served purpose. Comic Sans, because it is an
Right.
accessible font and it's easier to read when things are in Comic Sans, and also it's great for if you have dyslexia. So like,
What?
yep, Comic Sans is great for that.
I'm
I didn't know
dyslexic,
that.
and I did not know that.
I was
I
like-
literally.
It's so much easier. And when, I am one day not on this earth, I want my gravestone to be in Comic Sans because I think that'd be funny.
I want mine in wingdings.
I
Let
think
someone
that would be
decipher
funny.
that. I just think this is such an interesting question because there are people who would go, no, like I don't a favorite font. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? I don't
Times
know.
New
I don't know the
Roman.
titles of them. And there's some people who like Times New Roman because it's just the default on a lot of like Word documents and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna use that. I like Arial.
Ariel's
That's
nice.
fair.
That's a good
It's-
one. Nice clean
It's
one.
classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also Impact is a good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a Calibri kid too.
Calibri's
I'm a
great.
Calibri
Why
kid.
can't I picture what that is?
It's usually the default before Times New Roman.
Yeah.
That's
Because
fair.
a lot of things are just Calibri when
Yeah.
I'm like editing videos and stuff.
That's going to be a vocal stem for me this week. Calibri.
Calibri. Let us know what your favorite font is in the comments. I'm curious.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go through the comments and tell you you're wrong. So in the comments, put what your favorite font is if you dare.
Right. Come at us.
Come at
Be
us.
so brave if you can.
I want merch with all of our names on it, but in our favorite fonts.
That'd be so nice.
Yeah.
Next time you come on an episode, I'll have name tags for us.
Yes.
In it.
Ooh,
In it.
Slay.
In the actual fonts. And are you, I don't know if you're okay talking about this publicly, but you told Blizz and I something very exciting right before we started recording.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I don't want to downplay shit, but I'm excited about it. I just got cast in my first lead in a stage musical in like 6 years. I'm going to be in a children's play. I'm going to
so
perform for
cool.
children, for elementary schools. I don't know.
if you
I'm
were gonna
stoked.
downplay it, I was gonna fight you like live
I know.
on this channel.
I started to.
live on this video.
I started to, and I could feel your eyes on me over
Oh,
there.
it's
was
I
like,
have a readable face,
I
so it's just
know.
like, are you about to downplay yourself?
Yeah, I was
gonna
about
be
to.
we're not doing this today.
Yeah.
no.
yeah.
But
It's
yeah,
literally just based off of a children's book, Nate the Great. and
Oh,
it's,
yeah. Oh,
Not the Great,
a
yeah.
musical.
I was going to ask if you were going to be singing.
Yep, I have my own song where I sing about my own cats because I'm a gothic cat
Slay.
lady. Big slay.
Wow, literally big slay.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Yeah.
I feel so hip. I feel so hip being with you guys. Me being like 33, being like big slay, yo.
Well, Barb, I'm actually collecting voice recordings of people saying pussy slay. Can you say?
Pussy slay.
Okay, I will get that in the email whenever this episode comes out.
Perfect. I think the last episode you were on, we also went over pussy slay. About how something
Jeff
is pussy
and
slay.
Jeff.
Yeah. There's so many different versions of slay, but pussy slay is probably the loudest and the proudest.
Is it like the impact font of slays?
Yes,
Yeah,
it
it
is.
is.
That is
I
so
agree.
pussy slay.
You are an incredible performer too, I have to say.
stop.
Like
Thank
we came to see you perform in cabaret.
Yeah.
Which you were doing for a few months as well.
Mhm. That was
Absolutely
fun.
incredible. What was that experience like, getting to be part of like
Oh man.
this whole production?
Well, it was the first show I've done in like 5 years. And also the first show I've done after the pandemic, which is
Right.
wild because I've done musical theater since I was 9 years old. And it was different because I've done a lot of shows where the leads don't have understudies. And obviously we needed understudies. Pretty much every single weekend we had an understudy go on.
Wow.
It was just like there's a lot of kissing in the show. There's a lot
were
of
people getting sick?
yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, we had people sick every weekend.
my
Our
God.
lead even was sick the first weekend. The second 2 shows, she collapsed backstage. It was very
Oh my
it was
God.
a little scary, but our understudy was incredible. She's my friend Liv, kind of killed it. But so grateful that we had options. But
Yeah.
so to me, out of all the shows I've done my entire life, it's probably going to be one that I'm never going to forget because it was just
absolutely.
an adrenaline rush that
Yeah.
never ended.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You also look beautiful.
Oh
on
my God,
stage.
right?
You're
Literally,
killing it.
like
Thank
the
you.
second you appeared, I was sitting next to Trevor and I was like, a vision.
Oh God. You know, we are all our own worst critics. Like
Yeah.
For sure.
I definitely felt sexy in that costume, but then like, you know, you look at it later and you're like, but y'all were so nice to me. I'm very grateful.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It's hard not to get in your own head about things. And
For sure.
You are your worst critic, I think, too.
I would say Barb knows. Barb has had to pull me out of my head from multiple times of me being
Yeah.
like, I saw this thing and it made me feel shit about myself.
And then I go, stop.
and Barb's like, you're coming with me. You're done. You're done.
I
And I'm
think
like, "Thank
that's
you."
just the curse of working on the internet. Is
Yeah,
no matter
I
how
agree.
confident and proud of ourselves we are, we still are going to have days that are just imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
Or like the one negative comment is the only one you'll remember and that'll stick in your head about everything. Even though there's like 100 other, this is great, you
Yes.
look awesome, or this was really funny, or whatever it was. Whoosh.
Yeah.
So basically overload this piece of content with positivity.
Yeah,
Please
exactly.
and thank you.
Please be nice to us. We're sensitive. Barb and I are both cancers.
Yes, we are.
Fiona and I actually have the same birthday.
Do you really?
Yeah.
So you're a Leo cusp.
Yes. So I love attention and I love to cry.
Hey! That's gonna be the title of this episode.
Oh, no.
by the
Love
way.
attention and love to
I
cry.
love attention.
I feel
love
like-
to cry.
I feel like my brand on the internet at this point is just crying. Like, all of my like most watched clips on Twitch, I'm emotional and like I don't know. That's who I am, and I'm just gonna own it because being emotional is a superpower. Sometimes
Yeah.
some people struggle to feel those things.
It's true. Well, something that I think I wildly respect about both of you is your ability to be so candid and open about those issues that you guys deal with in such a public setting, because there's a lot of people who put that very much behind closed doors and only put their highlight reels out
Yeah.
and like their best days and their best moments and never show that side of themselves. And so when people do feel like that, they feel like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
If everything I
Yeah.
see, everyone's so happy and positive and not burning out or like not taking breaks. And it's like, why do I feel like I need this when no one else seems to?
I feel like that's why I have a hard time realizing that people struggle like I do, because I don't really know how to hide it. Like I'm grateful people are like, oh, you're so able to be vulnerable and blah, blah, blah. But I just genuinely don't know how to
not
fake
be?
it.
Same.
I'm an actress. I've been an actress my whole life and I can do that. You can give me a script. I can do that. But like when I'm candid and live on my own live streams, like if I'm not feeling good, I have to tell people.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard for me to see people who never show that and be like, ugh, they don't need breaks. They're so perfect, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then it's just not true behind closed doors. It just isn't.
It's like, it's weird too, because we're content creators too at the end of the day. And I feel like personally, if you are a transparent person about certain things, it makes it easier for the audience to see you as a human being and not someone who's just on a TV or on a screen or like a dance monkey dance type of situation. So I've kind of walked into creating content being transparent about like my mental health and about just like who I am in terms of my sexuality and my race and stuff like that. And I think it's also just great for representation too, where if you see a creator who is like burnout, I mean, we just talked about burnout before this. You're like, oh, I am also burnout. It's okay for me to take breaks. It's okay for me to take care of myself and put myself first before my content. So it's nice.
Or anything that
or
I'm doing.
anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing too that I wanted to touch on, which is a little bit more of a recent development for you, Bliz, and something that I think, Laurel, you've talked about publicly as well, ADHD, which I think a lot of people go undiagnosed or might not realize that they might have ADHD or something similar. And Bliz, you recently felt like there were some signs showing you that this might be something that you were dealing with. So could you talk maybe a little bit about that process?
So you've kind of been there for the whole process of when I figured it out, where I was like, I should probably go get checked. But my process has been, it's been weird. I found myself not being able to focus on the things that I wanted to work on or actually just like sit down and focus on one thing or two things at the same time. I was always distracted. I was always like, it didn't feel like I was always there. I was giving my 50% self.
And like, did you also have trouble kind of bringing something to completion? So it's like if you would sit down and start on something, you would then immediately go to something else.
Yeah, it would take like maybe like 2-3 days for me to complete something when it could have just been like in a couple hours if I focused. So I noticed that something was up, and then I think my community also noticed something was up, and they were like, "Hey, gamer, what's going on?" And I was like, "I don't know." And I had a conversation with a lovely friend who we've had on STF streams, Maddie Duvernay. And we were playing Minecraft together in a Minecraft SMP for our like Meet Dude stream team. And we're just talking about certain things, and it's like three of us together, and someone's talking about their ADHD, someone else is talking about their ADHD, and I go, "Wait, is that ADHD?"
You're describing me.
One thing that people with ADHD and people who are autistic, neurodivergent people don't realize is that we accidentally flock together. So even if you're not diagnosed, you have those personality traits, you have those brain functions, you're going to become friends with people that are like you. So I'll be honest, I think I knew before you did. And I have a lot of friends that I'm like, you're definitely on one of the spectrums, you know, and it's just that's how I know that we connect, you know?
Yeah.
It's one of those things though that's like, oh, everyone else around me thinks the same and has the same things going on. And you're like, oh wait, but you have ADHD.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, what's going on here? But I ended up doing the doctor's appointment and really like going through an adventure with medication. So at first I was doing Adderall that was immediate release. I'd take 2 times a day.
Okay.
And I didn't like it.
Really?
I found myself going super high and then super low immediately, and then told to take another Adderall for me to go back high and then back down. And so recently, this past weekend, I switched over to extended release, which has been nice, like little cruising going up and then cruising going down. So I don't feel.
So it's not as extreme.
Yeah. I found myself having panic attacks all like the weeks before. I'm really good at coping, Barbara.
I had no idea.
I'm really good at coping and like masking all of it. But there will be times like where we're streaming where my mind goes panic attack, and I'm like, how do we take that away? How do we take that away? Okay, it's going to be a quick fix, and then get yourself together when you go into the bathroom. But I found myself having those like increase when I was taking immediate. But now that I'm on extended, it's more like chill and more calm, and I can focus on certain tasks and do multiple tasks if I need to and finish them all at the same time, which is really nice.
I remember there was a day I came in, I think it was like just after you had started on medication, and you were like, I was able to finish this. Like I focused so well today.
No,
and I'm like, I'm so proud of you.
Barb, I said, have I been raw dogging my mental health like this?
Oh my God.
I was like, have I been raw dogging my mental health this entire time? And Barb's like, yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
I'm honestly a little envious because I have ADHD, I'm autistic, and I deal with anxiety and depression. So when I started getting on medication, they put me on mood stabilizers and not anything for my ADHD. And I'm actually at the point right now where I'm talking with my doctors and my therapist. They're like, yeah, maybe we should medicate the ADHD and not the depression, because a lot of people who are ADHD are depressed because they can't handle that part of their brain and how it affects their everyday life. And I'm like, honestly, like if I could focus, I feel like most of what I'm sad about would go away.
Honestly, like there's probably a lot of intertwining there when it comes to your focus and your sense of self, and also your ability to focus on things, complete things, like whatever it is that ties into self-worth in a way. Probably not for everybody. Obviously no shoe is one size fit all in that kind of scenario. But I'm so proud of you for taking that step. And I know too, like you were talking about seeing those signs and thinking like this might be something that you had, and we were all like, oh, like, are you talk to someone or like go to see someone for it? And I'm really proud that you did that, because I think also like, I think it's important to recognize those things in yourself, but it's always, I think, important to talk to a therapist or a professional in that kind of case to really understand what you're dealing with, instead of trying to self-medicate or self-diagnose, because it could be so many different things and you might not know.
Yeah, and it's a little bit scary finding out something new about yourself, whether it's mental health or sexuality, just anything. You're like, oh, this is, I was this entire time and I didn't know. And then there's a point of grieving and a point of like disappointment. I had disappointment with myself, being like, why didn't I give myself this opportunity sooner? Or college could have been so much easier if I knew I had ADHD ahead of time, because like studying was hard. So I just got over grieving right now.
Yeah.
This is how I felt when I found out I was autistic this past year. So I was diagnosed autistic, I think in 2022. And it is exactly that. I mean, media kind of makes you feel like ADHD and autism are very specific things. And kind of negatives. And so when I had to come to terms with being autistic, at first I was relieved. Like the first day of it, I was like, everything makes sense.
Right.
But then you spend months kind of being like, oh, everything makes sense. And I'm almost 28. And it's like, my life, if my parents had just taken me to the doctor when I was a kid, I probably wouldn't have struggled in school. And if, maybe my interactions with my school bullies would have been different, and maybe my relationships with, my past significant others would be different. And but at the same time, I'm also, and I hope you'll get to this point eventually, I'm kind of at that point now where I'm forgiving my past self, because she didn't have the tools that I have now.
Right.
She didn't know.
I'm about to cry.
I know. She, like, we can't punish ourselves for something.
We need Kleenex on the set.
You're good.
We can't punish ourselves for things that our past selves weren't prepared to understand.
I'm doing all of this for my past self. So that's why when you hit that, I'm like, oh, you hit it. Okay.
I know.
I can't, if I see other people cry, I cry. So I'm going to just look down the whole time.
I've cried so much about this exact same thing. So I think that's why I'm not right now, because it kind of sometimes hits you like a train, where it's like,
I totally understand that feeling of like having this thing that you feel is off and not having answers for it, and living your whole life feeling like something is wrong or something is off. Not wrong, sorry.
No, but I know what you mean.
Different. Not something that like doesn't feel normal to you.
Well, the world just wants to tell us to cope the way that neurotypical people do.
Exactly.
And so when you think that you're neurotypical and you try to cope the way people do, meditate and do yoga, and then it doesn't work, then you're like, there is something wrong with
just
me.
Relax.
Yeah. Oh my God. Drink more water. Go on a walk for your mental health. Like,
see some sunshine.
Oh my God.
That's all great, and I would recommend.
I hate to admit it. I have been working out again, and I will say, like, I get it. Like, it does help a bit. But like with ADHD, it's hard to like remember to do it, because we can't form habits the way that neurotypical people can.
Right.
And we have to have dopamine in a task to do the task and to continue to do the task. So like if you don't work out for a week, then all of a sudden you forget that that's a thing that you do sometimes. And then you're not working out for 3 months, which is what I did. And then I was on antidepressants, and it was like all those months just kind of slurred together. But
and now you're working out with Kristen.
I am,
which is, by the way, so Kristen is Blaine's partner, who also is like literally, if you ever wanted to see a Disney princess in real life, she is like that Disney princess. Like I imagine she could talk to little animals, and she's just like so sweet and funny and perfect and like nice and just like the kindest person.
And she loves Rick Astley, which is hilarious.
It's her favorite artist. I learned that the other weekend, and I'm like, out of all the artists, it's Rick Astley.
We were working out yesterday, and the music that she plays when we work out together is like very like 80s, like, and
I see why her and Blaine are together.
I know, it makes sense. She literally, she knows about, my relationship with my mom, and Mamma Mia plays by ABBA, and she just kind of turns around with her phone in her hand and looks at me and she goes, "Is this triggering?" completely sincere. Like it was not a joke. And I was like, I literally just laughed and I was like, no, I love this song.
She's such a caring person too, and super organized.
Oh my God.
I love texting her and just being like, "Hey, do you want to do these plans on this day?" And just invite everyone. She's like, "Yeah, I'll get this worked on now." And I'm like, "What? This isn't."
Oh my God.
What?
I literally, as someone who's used to planning a lot, and like if I'm ever in a group text and everyone's like, "We should do something," and I'm like, "I made a reservation for 7:00 at this place. Okay, I'll see you there." She does that, and I'm like, I love you.
I need more friends like that, to be honest.
Literally.
The only reason I have a tattoo on my body is because my friend Olivia was like, "We're going this day at this time. I'm picking you up and we're going there." And I was like, "All right.
Okay, thank you.
I'll be there."
You are in for a treat because support for today's episode comes from Jenni Kayne. Jenni Kayne items are classic, comfortable, and California-inspired clothes. Think minimalist meets luxury, or style meets comfort. And that pretty much sums up Jenni Kayne. And a side note, their website is the most aesthetically pleasing, minimalistic California dream. It's very easy to lose track of time when scrolling through the different pages. Yeah, it's pretty wonderful. Anyways, Jenni Kayne is known for their staple cotton sweaters, like their best-selling cotton cocoon cardigan, the luxe cotton fisherman sweater, which I am wearing right now, and the perfect for summer Chloe crew neck. These are core pieces you could dress up or down all season long. As I mentioned before, I'm wearing a Jenni Kayne piece right now. It's thick, it's comfortable, it fits the body perfectly, and it's the perfect level of crop for all you ladies out there who like your crop sweaters. It's perfect, and it's just so incredibly well made. You could tell it's really quality. So find your forever pieces at jennikayne.com. Our listeners get 15% off your first order when you use the code ALWAYSOPEN at checkout. That's 15% off your first order at JENNIKAYNE.com with the promo code ALWAYSOPEN. The brand go-to for all season staples. Treat yourself because you deserve it. Thinning hair is not only common, it's completely normal. And going through it could feel lonely and frustrating. But with Nutrafol, you don't have to just accept it, you could do something about it. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement that has been clinically shown to improve hair growth, visible thickness, and visible scalp coverage for men and women. All you have to do is take their hair wellness quiz to get your personalized plan for better hair growth through whole body wellness. The quiz is wonderful. I just took it recently, so I'm going to be receiving my product soon, but it looks at your stress level, your hormones, tons of different things to give you the right product for your situation. Take the first step to visibly thicker, healthier hair. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code OPEN. Find out why over 3,500 healthcare professionals recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. So that's Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, and the promo code OPEN. Nutrafol.com, promo code OPEN. Well, thank you guys for opening up about that. I think it's really important to talk about these things. And, if you're watching the show and ever have a question for us or a topic that you want us to discuss, you could email us at alwaysopen@roosterteeth.com. So send in some questions, which we have some for us today. So let's get into it. We're going to start with a little bit of a lighter one.
Okay.
because we do have a heavy question that I want to save for the end.
Okay.
So this question writes, what advice do you have for being in a relationship with someone who has a higher sex drive than you?
Ooh. The one thing that I wish that they had asked in the question, I wish they had explained, like, are they looking to increase their sex drive, or if they maybe identify on the ACE spectrum in some way, because I think that there's obviously lots of
there's different options. Scenario.
It changes.
Outcomes.
Different paths to go down.
It
here.
changes my answer personally. Like, I think that if sex is really important to you and you feel like your sex drive is low, it could be stress. It could be antidepressants. It could be maybe you don't have as strong of a connection with your partner as you did when you first started. Because like I struggled with that a lot. I'm demisexual. So like I need to have connection with people.
Is that what I'm not as familiar with demisexual.
It's it's on the spectrum of ACE.
Okay.
And I don't always love fully explaining it because I feel like everybody has their own interpretation of it.
Copy.
For me, it's like I've had a one night stand like that. I feel like that's, and I'm capable of it. But for me, when I'm with someone long term, if the connection dwindles, so does my sexual drive towards them.
Gotcha. They're very connected, those two.
Yeah. And also most of the people that I've dated seriously, I wasn't attracted to them. I was friends with them, or I had a connection with them other than sexual before we had that kind of connection. So, but that's not how it is for me all the time.
Okay.
So that's why it's a spectrum,
For sure.
Yeah. But I think that if you feel like your sex drive is not as much as your partner, the biggest thing, and I'm sure you would agree with this, the number one thing is communication. You have to talk about it.
I feel like we need a saying on the show for when we bring up communication.
Communication.
Like a little communication buzzard or a light. Because it literally, every single question we ever get, the number one thing is communication. So you will hear that every episode of Always Open. You're going to have to deal with it.
That's why I'm
it's important.
So passionate about it. Because like I feel like if you don't talk about it, then it's nobody can read your mind, no matter how much you feel like you can imply things. Nobody knows exactly what you're
just
thinking.
Say it.
Yeah.
Just say it at that point. Like no one's gonna be able to read exactly what's going on in your head. I don't want to cut you off.
No. I
don't worry. We'll give you rebuttals too.
I've had a lot of caffeine today, so I'm like.
But I agree with you with what you were saying with communications, and also the conversation around ethical non-monogamy is a thing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Where,
Thank you.
You can check with your partner and see if like that might be something for you. If your partner has a high sexual drive, maybe consider your partner hooking up with other people. And that's okay if you have that communication, that talk, and understand what the boundaries are within your relationship and what you're okay with and what they're okay with moving forward. But that's if y'all are down to do that, basically.
I do feel like that's more and more relevant now. I am non-monogamous. I am ethically non-monogamous at the moment. And I think that if you had said that to me before the pandemic, I would have been like, lol, no, like no way. But like it is a thing about like needs and making sure your needs are met. If you really care about your partner, then you want their needs to be met. And if you can't always meet their needs, then why not let them, with full communication, talk about it. And if that's not for you, there's always toys.
Hey.
There's always lots and lots of toys
for everyone.
Yes, just don't forget to charge them.
Yeah, I think right. I've been there before.
Oh my God.
I cannot tell you, there's nothing worse.
Oh my God.
Being like, you're in the middle of doing something and you're like about to grab the toy, or the toy is already going, and then it dies and you go, I need to pause.
When we had the freeze recently, I had one die, and honestly, I literally like outwardly was like, no, I can't even order one overnight.
I gotta go start up the lawnmower now.
I gotta move the shower head anyway.
But something I think also is very important in terms of the discussion of like ethical non-monogamy and just non-monogamy in general, and having an open relationship, or however you want to describe it. I think a big issue a lot of people face is insecurity
Yeah.
in particular of, I think if you try to approach that topic with your partner, sometimes they might think that they're, I don't know, like you're going to be looking for something else in someone that they can't provide you and it's their fault.
Yeah.
Rather than it's just being like, these are my needs. And I feel like we're connected on this level and we get this from each other. But there's things if your sex drive isn't as high as mine, or if I feel like there's just something else that I need that you're not comfortable with, finding it in someone else is not always a reflection of how I feel about you and our relationship.
This is why I'm really, really passionate about things like attachment styles and learning your attachment style. When I first started seeing my therapist, we took the attachment style test because it is a huge part of your relationship, whether you are aware of it or not. If you are in a relationship with someone who is anxious attached and you are avoidant, that is going to be the majority of what you guys fight about. And so I think knowing your definitions, and I'm not a reader, guys. I'm dyslexic. I don't read, okay? But I do.
Well, do we have a font for you?
Comic Sans, baby.
I'm not a reader, but I listen to podcasts and I do my research in the ways that work for me. And it has helped me with communication with my partners. And it has helped me like understanding myself and even just my friends. Like we had a conversation recently where I was like, I'm going to be really honest. I'm having a trauma response. I feel like my friends are pulling away from me. Like, and that's because I'm anxious attached, and I have been my whole life. Thanks, Mom. Anyway,
Mamma mia.
Here we go again. Sorry, is that sugar?
Actually, it is.
Yeah, that's fair. Thank you for setting that boundary.
Right, yeah.
Please end the
Fair.
podcast. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't want to go off of this topic completely, but also another definition that I think people don't know about. Like I'm a firm believer that sex drive is not really a thing. I think that there's sexual desire, and that sometimes has to do with your sexuality. But if you look up or listen to podcasts and look up the term sexual relevance, some people don't need sexual relevance to be turned on, and some people do.
Now I'm curious what sexual relevance
Yeah.
is.
So it's kind of like context clues to get you there.
Okay.
A lot of people mistake foreplay as like all the things that happen before, like,
Actually,
penetration.
yeah.
Yeah. But really it's before you play. So like it's giving your partner the sexual relevance, the context. So like say you're driving in the car and you're like, hey, like you remember that one time when we did that thing and it was really nice? Like just kind of like dabbling it in throughout the day is going to get a partner who needs the relevance kind of more likely to be in the mood later.
Gotcha.
And that all goes with communication. Like you
Yeah.
kind of just have to figure out where you are on that scale and what you need to up your drive.
I am so fascinated by this. I'm going to have to
Isn't
look
it fun?
into-
Yeah,
yeah.
no, because I did not know about that.
I've never
I don't
heard
know
that.
do you guys like plug other YouTubers on here?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, my favorite YouTuber about this subject in particular, her name's Hannah Witten. She's a sex positive YouTuber, talks about stuff on that scale. And when I learned about this like 2 years from her YouTube video, it changed my life and my
Wow.
whole view on sexual interactions.
Yeah, Hannah Witten, you said.
Yes.
We'll have to get her on the show.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
amazing.
We'll have to get her on Always Open so she could continue to teach us.
Yeah.
I'd say one more thing. We talked about this before, but in terms of not intercourse, but what you see as like intercourse in a sense, because it doesn't necessarily have to be everything that's penetration.
Yes.
It could be like simple things like touching, or there's always a joke on Broad City where I think Alana and I
I love
forgot
that show.
Blake girlfriend, they were painting on each other's back or something like that. They were doing everything other than having sex.
Ooh.
Oh, I
and
love
that in
that,
itself
yeah.
was just like engaging and fun, and
It's intimate.
it was intimate. It was
Yeah.
intimacy there.
Yeah.
So like just finding other ways of doing intimacy could also be very helpful in like
That's a great answer
You know,
that I didn't even consider.
providing like that drive or that want or desire or need.
Yeah. So I guess to also speak to the question about advice for a relationship with someone who has a higher sex drive than you, it's very possible that if you can't find a place, a middle ground, an understanding, that it just might not work out. And I
Yeah.
think that's something that
that it can be a compatibility thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if that, I think I read somewhere one time that it was like sex could either be 10% of a relationship or it could be like 90% of the relationship in terms of how much you think about it and how much it kind of overtakes your thoughts of like, is this working out? Does this person like me? Are they attracted to me? Or vice versa, of just like, I love my partner, but I'm not in the mood, and I don't want them to think I don't like them because I'm not in the mood all the time. It could encompass a lot.
I do think that when I won't name names, but in relationships in the past, I thought I was fully asexual.
Really?
Because I didn't know what demi was yet, and I didn't know what had happened. It was just like all of a sudden I felt like it was a chore. It was something I had to do. You know, it was my duty and
my womanly duty.
And I felt like I was always too stressed, and there's just not enough going on that I'm like, that's what I want to do right now, or like I got to get up early, and and I realized out of the relationship we didn't have communication. I didn't feel attracted to them anymore. I didn't feel close to them anymore. Like, and that's okay,
right?
But it is something that it's a hard pill to swallow that you gotta swallow. You gotta figure it out.
And I think also making sure that whatever partner you're with is understanding of those needs or lack of needs to an extent of it, not making it about themselves necessarily.
Yes.
Like sometimes it is about what you're going through, your own stress, your own body image, your own whatever it is that's keeping you from feeling that desire or that sex drive, to put it in a very simple term.
Yeah. I mean, don't you want your partner to want your needs to be met?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And there are certain situations where one person can't fulfill all the needs that you need. So,
and that's okay.
And that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. There are things that it would probably be impossible for you to fulfill all those needs,
or fill all those holes. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
but yeah, I think like communication is always a big one. Or you know, if it doesn't work, and that's okay. You can still be friends. It's not end all be all.
Yeah.
Just be respectful.
I also misquoted. It was sex could be 10% of a healthy relationship, but 90% of an unhealthy relationship.
Yeah, sometimes
in terms of like how much it kind of occupies your mind space.
True.
I feel like sometimes within certain religions, sex is seen as a territorial thing. So
yeah.
Get that out of your mind first and foremost.
Yes.
And I'm not talking to the Catholic kids, but I am talking to the Catholic kids. Sex is not territory. You don't own someone just because you have sex with them.
And also, no one should ever make you feel guilty for not being on the same level of them.
Agreed.
One way or the other.
Agreed.
And if someone is making you feel guilty or less than or anything of that capacity,
move on.
Leave.
You deserve better. Period.
You do.
Period.
Someone who is understanding and respectful of you and your needs is always number one.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful. I feel like we could talk about that forever.
Pussy slay.
Pussy
slay.
slay.
That's the palate cleanser.
Yes.
Pussy slay.
All right. So we're going to finish up with a question that was sent in, which I think is such a great question, but I'm going to say up front, I don't know if I know how to answer this one. And I don't know if there's a right answer for it.
Okay.
But let's get into it. This will be our last question of the show. As a reminder too,
hold my hand.
If you have a question for us, you could email us, alwaysopen@rootsbeat.com.
I'm sorry.
We'd love to hear from you. All right. This one's kind of a bit of a long one, so you guys are going to be holding hands for a bit.
I love that, actually.
All right, here it is. I'm a 25-year-old female who grew up on a farm outside a small town in Saskatchewan, Canada. I've always had a love for agriculture, so much so that it drove me to an education in the field and eventually my career. I just started a new job in the agricultural industry, and so far I am loving it. The work is great and I get along really well with my coworkers. However, the problem comes with me noticing I don't like the way my coworkers talk about certain things. As anyone who grew up in a rural or small town knows, the people are not always the most open-minded individuals. In the AG world, which I assume means agriculture, it's almost 10 times worse. It's an old school straight white boys club, and anything out of the norm is scrutinized or punished for being different. Where I grew up, whenever something is quote unquote wrong with our town or in the world in general, it's because of insert racist, sexist, homophobic comment here. My coworkers are the same way. Everyday comments are made that are extremely racist towards anyone not white, Jokes are made about the LGBTQIA community in bad taste, and women are treated as lesser than and sometimes downright disrespected, but played off as a joke. I like to think of myself as a person who is kind and caring towards all walks of life, and due to certain experiences and trauma in my life, I feel a certain empathy towards people. So these comments make me very uncomfortable and extremely angry when they are spoken, especially considering 2 of the 3 topics apply to myself, a woman and not straight. I touched on it a little with my boss about some of these comments bothering me, but nothing has really happened about it. I know if nothing changes soon, I am maybe going to have to talk about this with my coworkers. I want to be professional with them, but I don't want to cause issues in the office either. I also really hate confrontation as it causes me to have extreme anxiety. Mood. My overall question is, how should I approach these conversations in this situation? I know these types of conversations are always awkward, but necessary. Any advice would be amazing.
Okay.
That
Shame on their boss.
Shame on their boss. So I was someone who was in a similar work experience. I used to work for the government, and I'm not going to name the company, but I hated it. But I worked in Southern Maryland, basically. So it's a lot of farmland, a lot of people who are just white, straight men working for the government. So they didn't realize that I was bisexual, which I was giving off hints the entire time.
I was going to ask
how. Giving off hints the entire time I've been bisexual, but they didn't know. Because I guess they've never interacted with someone who is bisexual. So
right.
If you've never seen it, I guess
That's
they don't know the telltale
telling.
signs.
Right.
Yeah. But they would constantly make jokes about, first and foremost, Black people, which was very interesting. But then jokes about like sexuality, and for some odd reason they hated Lil Nas X because he was pushing an agenda, and I was like, what's the agenda? I was like, he's like kind of hot.
The agenda of being hot.
The
and
gay
cool.
agenda.
I was like, what
Liz, you
agenda?
should know about this. You signed the contract.
Oh,
Guys,
is that
by the way,
document?
that's what we're pushing here on
Yeah, we're
Always
pushing
Open.
the gay agenda right now, and it's like Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
You're gay.
You're gay. Fellas, am I gay?
Fellas, is it gay? But I was in that type of work environment where I felt like I couldn't thrive, and I also wasn't being respected in a sense of like my own identities was just a joke to a lot of people, but I was still providing a service that was definitely like necessary for the job. So it was weird. So my first thing was I went to HR to talk to them about it. And HR wasn't helpful, sadly.
Sounds
but
like a very similar situation here.
I'm hoping HR could be helpful. Like, don't go to your boss. Go to HR now, because you already brought it to your boss. Now it's an HR thing. If your boss didn't do anything, or you can do a double check-in with your boss if you would like to do a double check-in, just to be like, hey, has anything happened moving forward, or have you had that conversation moving forward? But you could be in a situation like I am where my boss wasn't respecting me either, and my boss was also the one making the comments like that.
Oh, no.
So yeah, it's like, where do you go? There was a point where I realized that I respected myself a lot more than the job that I had. So I ended up quitting because I was like, I can find somewhere else, and I can be in a space that isn't trying to bring me down or see me as a joke, because that's, at the end of the day, it's still going to affect your mental health, or honestly self-worth.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like at the end of the day, this starts with setting boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And as a recovering people pleaser, I know that that's really difficult.
How do you become a recovering people pleaser for someone who needs to know?
I got you.
I have a friend that's asking right now.
Literally, I had to decide where my boundaries lie before I could ask for them to be met. But for me, it is a self-worth thing. If you love yourself, then why aren't you granting yourself the self-compassion to say, hey, this conversation makes me uncomfortable. It is not unprofessional to say you are uncomfortable. In fact, it's very professional to say that you are uncomfortable. If you are uncomfortable and you don't feel safe in your own work environment, that is a problem, and it is not your fault, and it is not your problem. So I feel like shame on your boss for not changing anything. If there is no HR, I don't know how ag works really. But I feel like in the moment they're making a joke, you just say, hey, I'm really uncomfortable with this right now. And if they make a joke about that, you say, no, like, I'm serious. I want to be able to, work with you guys and be a professional coworker, and I am uncomfortable. Yeah. And double down. Like, if they continue to make jokes, that's on them. They're the ones being unprofessional.
Yeah. I agree. Something I will add too is, and I know this easier said than done because
Yeah,
you are in
it
an
is
environment, especially if
confrontation.
you love your job and you're passionate about it, something you've worked towards, and you feel like you're doing something you are meant to be doing. It's tough to be like, just quit.
Yeah.
Just go find something else. But another thing that's tough about this is confronting people. And I know she mentioned she has issues with confrontation because it causes her anxiety. Same, literally same. But something that I think is important is there's people who have these very old-fashioned ways of thinking.
Yeah.
And very kind of close-minded viewpoints on the world. And sometimes if no one ever challenges that, they'll keep thinking like that. They'll keep talking like that.
Yep.
And what I would recommend is if you find yourself in situations where you are one-on-one with one of these people who talk this way, and they make a joke or comment, or even if they're not actively doing it in that moment, just challenge them on it. Say, you joked about this. I'm just curious, like, why you said that. Or like, where's that coming from?
Yeah.
And have a conversation. It doesn't have to be necessarily confrontational, but more of coming from a place of education, or at least like, just trying to maybe understand their perspective so you could then challenge it in a way.
Yeah. And I also would say, I don't know if you, person who sent in this question, are viewing confrontation as personally a negative thing or violence or aggression. Confrontation is literally just addressing your feelings and emotion about a certain situation. My therapist told me that. So that it's good, I promise you, in a sense of like, it will no longer be seen as a chore or a negative thing if you're standing up for yourself. So
stand up for yourself. That's what this is.
It's hard. It's especially when it's seen as the word confrontation, but see it more as just you standing up for yourself at the end of the day, or you addressing your emotions, which is important to do at the end of the day. Do that.
Absolutely.
Practice makes perfect.
It
Like,
does.
I know you hear that all the time, but like, practice. If you don't know what you want to say in the moment, write it down a bunch of times. Do it in the shower. You're laughing, but like,
I do it in the shower.
as an autistic bitch, I've had lots of conversations in the shower. I practice answering this question earlier. So,
Oh, wow.
Me in the shower being like, hey.
I'm the only person who I don't have internal monologues or talk to myself.
Whoa,
ever.
that's cool.
Yeah. I'm the complete opposite.
What is that like?
Head empty, no thoughts.
Oh my God.
Literally, I think in imagery.
Oh my God, that's so
it.
cool.
Yeah. It's there's no internal monologue going. I never have conversations in my head or like, I know.
Do you talk to yourself
My
like
head
out
hurts.
loud?
Like,
No, never.
No? Oh.
If I'm home alone, it's completely silent.
What?
House. Yeah. We'll have to get into it on the next episode.
yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I could honestly talk about that for hours. What the heck?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
But man, this is a tough situation to be in.
It is.
One other thing I do want to say
Please,
is
yeah.
you are passionate about your job. You can say that. Like, be like, next time you talk to your boss, like, I love my job, so I want to feel safe in my job.
Right.
If that doesn't change, if this group of dudes still manage to be the way that they are, farming is not going away. And I bet anyone would be willing to hire someone that is as passionate about this as you are.
That's very true.
And I know the economy is bad right now, and it is hard to find jobs right now, and that is scary. But I firmly believe that if you are driven and passionate about something in particular, like, you're gonna get there. And eventually, but if you stand up for yourself enough, you will be put in a environment that feels comfy and safe.
100%.
Yeah.
I hope.
I feel like I couldn't have said it better than that. Yeah, absolutely. Take care of yourself first and foremost. Also, like, it's so complicated because it's so hard to change people's mindset, especially when it's that mob mentality too. Like, if it's a group of people who are all joking about the same things, and it's a bit of a backwards way of thinking or a very old-fashioned way of thinking, it's sometimes really hard to change that.
Yeah. You're planting a seed though.
Yes.
If you mention it, you're planting a seed. Will that seed grow? We don't know the terrain. So
Yeah.
it could, and you don't know. It honestly could. It can grow into something fruitful, but at least you tried there.
Yes.
So don't beat yourself up for an outcome not becoming what you thought it was. You still tried.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, big good
To
luck.
you wrote in. I'm sorry you're dealing with that, but congratulations on the career and doing something you love. I think that's so important. All right, well, guys, thank you so much for being on today. Laurel, where could people find you?
Well, I am now Laurel Rothamel on all platforms except Twitch. I am Laurel. Just Laurel, which is pretty cool. So yeah, you can find me YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, wherever.
Literally the most fun Twitch streams.
Oh, thank you.
Seriously.
And YouTube, Liz, of course.
Thank you.
It's whatever.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for joining me today. And thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you guys next Tuesday. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that episode of Always Open. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend. Word of mouth is so important for these types of shows, and we hope that you'll share the love with all your friends and family or even your worst enemies. Who knows? Also, make sure to check out the other shows on the All Good No Worries channel, including Please Be Nice to Me, How Hard Could It Be, Let's Blend, and Cozy Couch.